Have you ever trusted someone so deeply, only to find out they were robbing you behind your back? Imagine inviting a friend into your home, feeding them, laughing with them, only to later discover they stole your wedding jewelry and racked up $1,000 of your money. That's what happened to me. But instead of breaking down, I turned the tables, and made sure every single one of them regretted crossing me. This revenge? It cost them way more than they expected. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, this story is going to hit home. Hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up, because you're about to hear one of the most cold, calculated, and cathartic revenge stories ever shared. This happened years ago, when I was young, married, and pregnant, 3 things that isolated me from most people my age. While others were finishing college or still in high school, I had a house, a husband with a great job, and nice things. To many, I had married up. But with those comforts came loneliness, and that made me vulnerable. Desperate for connection, I befriended a girl from my old high school. She was finishing her senior year. We'd known each other loosely back then, and now, she'd occasionally come over to hang out. I thought I was doing a good thing, offering her dinner, warmth, and friendship. One evening, she brought over another friend. Midway through the night, the friend asked to use the restroom. We pointed her in the direction and thought nothing of it. But what we didn't realize is that this girl took a detour into our bedroom. A week later, I noticed something devastating. My pearl and diamond earrings, gifts from my husband, worn on our wedding day, were missing. We tore the house apart but couldn't find them. My husband reassured me, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. Then, weeks later, I checked one of our rarely used checking accounts, one we'd opened for a business side project, and it was overdrawn. Massively. Almost $1,000 in the red. The charges? Dozens of transactions at a local mall, teen fashion stores, cosmetics, accessories, exactly where a group of teenage girls would shop. Every transaction was followed by a $25 overdraft fee. The debit card for that account had been in our bedroom drawer. And only a handful of people had ever been in our home, let alone upstairs. It didn't take long to connect the dots. I was furious. Not just about the money. Not just about the earrings. But about the betrayal. I had welcomed this girl into my life, into my home, and she used it to rob me. So I got to work. I called every store in the mall. Most had no cameras. But one had just installed a security system and told me they had footage from the day in question. They couldn't release it to me, but they could give it to the police. I then called the bank. They confirmed I could report the charges as fraud, which would trigger an investigation and potentially reverse the overdraft fees, but only if I filed a police report. Time was ticking. At that point, I was ready. But before going to the police, I made one last calculated move. I called the girl. I told her the bad news: someone had stolen my wedding earrings and my debit card. And whoever it was had gone on a spending spree. She acted shocked. Played innocent. Said it was horrible. Then she made a mistake. She told me I probably wouldn't be able to prove who used the card, since the stores didn't have cameras. Bingo. I then casually mentioned that one of the stores did have cameras, and that they were ready to hand over footage to the police. Silence. She ended the call quickly. 30 minutes later, she showed up at my house. In her hand? My wedding earrings. My debit card. And something I didn't even know was missing, a small diamond ring from my late great-aunt. She'd taken that too. Her story? Her friend had gone upstairs and stolen the items. She knew about it but didn't want to betray her friend. But then she confessed, she had gone shopping with the card. Along with others. She wasn't just an accessory. She was a full participant. She begged. She cried. But I didn't flinch. I told her if she didn't give me the names and parents of everyone involved, I was filing a report. No hesitation. And I meant it. She gave them up. I called the parents. Explained what happened. Told them I was willing to not press charges if they repaid every cent, including the overdraft fees. But they had just 1 week. After that, I'd go to the police and file fraud claims. They were horrified. Grateful I was giving their kids a chance. And, more importantly, they acted fast. The 4 teens had to get jobs and work every hour they could to repay the amount. It was a painful, humiliating lesson. One that cost them 3 to 4 times more than they spent, thanks to the overdraft fees. One girl tried to argue that the amount seemed unfair. I calmly explained the banking policy, and reminded her she was lucky I hadn't pressed felony theft charges. They paid. Every last cent. Watching them scramble to pay me back, working late nights and weekends, knowing they were this close to having felony charges on their records, it was poetic justice. They didn't just lose my trust, they earned a harsh life lesson that would follow them for years. Betrayal by someone you trust cuts deep. But revenge? The kind where you stay calm, collect your evidence, and let the consequences speak for themselves? That's the kind of closure that heals. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and drop a comment below. What would you have done in my shoes? Don't forget to subscribe for more true stories of betrayal and revenge. Because sometimes, karma needs a little push.